Indonesia today is one of the world's major growth markets, and it's also a major source of natural resources. Joining us now on INSEAD Knowledge from the Leadership Summit Europe, where we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the school, is Dharma Djojonegoro, and he's the CEO of Ancora Indonesia Resources.
Yep.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Pleasure.
This is a reasonably new position for you.
Yep.
You went to INSEAD, became a consultant at McKinsey.
Yep.
What attracted you to this?
Actually, several things, right? I think even at McKinsey, I was part of what we call the operations group. So my focus was rather than, only focusing on the strategy of companies. I was much more on the operational level, right? Trying to improve the operations of companies, of our clients. So in that sense, it's quite a natural leap, right? Because there I was as a consultant trying to improve the operations of my clients. Now I just simply take that skill set and try to improve the operations of our subsidiaries.
This is really located in the apex of kind of growing markets. So, I mean,
Yep.
We're in an economic slowdown, at least in the industrial world.
Yep.
But there's a lot of growth going on actually in the part of the world where you're headquartered. So what kind of demand is there right now?
The biggest demand right now is coming from the energy sector, actually. Right? So if you think about it, basically the big drivers of demand in natural resources is always India and China. Right? They're growing rapidly, and they're basically building the power generation to keep up. So natural resources from Indonesian standpoint, I mean, we have a huge reserves of coal. Right? We're the second largest or the largest thermal coal exporter in the world. Right? We are also the second largest, I think, natural gas exporter in the world. Right? So it's sort of a, like you said, an apex, a happy coincidence of being in an emerging market, full of growth, and being in a sector within that is also rapidly growing.
And what do you actually have? You have some offshore. You have some. What are your business lines?
So Ancora Indonesia Resources is actually a publicly listed company in Jakarta. We have two subsidiaries. One is a onshore oil and gas drilling company. So basically, we provide the drilling services to the likes of multinationals that are operating in Indonesia. The second is actually we are a producer and a distributor of mining explosives. Right? So what happens in mining is that they need to dig the resource from out of the ground, and the way to do it quickly is by exploding the overburden, what we call the overburden on top of it. And basically, we provide that services to the mining companies in Indonesia. You
were tasked with growing the company quite dramatically.
Yep.
What's your target there for growth?
Humbly, we're a pretty small company right now. We're about 100 million in market cap. Right? My target in the sort of job offer I had, the target was basically to grow it 5-fold or 10-fold within a few years.
How can you do that? I mean, clearly the demand's there, but that's a big build-up.
There's organic growth and there's inorganic growth. Right? In the organic growth part is actually, we've already halfway through the process of doing that. The one situation is in the mining explosives company. Right? Indonesia demand is about 400,000 tons. We are producing currently 40,000 tons, right? So there's a huge gap that can be filled. We're actually building our second factory right now. The second one is acquisitions, right? Namely the acquisitions of mining assets and logistics assets in Indonesia, right? The way we look at it, mining in Indonesia, there's the extraction of the asset, of the resource, right? And then there's the logistics. And Indonesia, it's the mining of the coal is actually very easy. It's the logistics that's very difficult. And therefore, that's why we're interested both in having the asset, because that's where the value is, right? That's where you get most of the margin.
Where are you going to get the money to make these acquisitions? Do you have it, or you have to go to the capital markets?
I have to go to the capital markets. I mean, we are part of a business group, so that business group will obviously provide some of it. But at the end of the day, we have to go to the capital markets.
Is this the kind of climate that you can borrow money in?
It's not going to be easy, obviously, right? But we are quite confident that as long as the right story is there, right, people will invest, right? If I go to an investor and tell them, look, my portfolio company is going to double in profitability in a year or two, right? Actually, in a year, right? Do you want to invest some money?
What did INSEAD teach you that you're carrying with you into this bold new world?
Many things, actually. Right? I mean, it's really hard to find a specific class that really pops up there. Well, actually, all of the classes are quite useful. Right? I remember management decision making quite vividly. I remember statistics quite vividly. I remember organizational behavior quite vividly. But I think it's the ability to work, not to work, right? It's the ability to thrive in a diverse culture. That at the end of the day, I think trumps everything, right? And when I say diverse, it's not necessarily nationalities, but it's more personalities and expertise, right? Again, both in McKinsey and in this current position, I work with very diverse personalities and expertise, right? And you have to, somehow manage that, align all the different agendas, cultural expectations into something that's productive.
And what do you think should be taught to these new MBAs to prepare them for this new world?
I think the one thing that MBAs in general lack is the softer part of the equation. How to negotiate, how to read the body language of the person next to you, how to manage people well, how to deal with insubordination, for example, how to deal with resentment. Those are the stuff that you don't necessarily get easily in a MBA, typical MBA setting.
I'm taking notes. We'll pass them on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dharma Djojonegoro, for being with us on
No
INSEAD Knowledge.